Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 34 of the Glimmer Gang Podcast. We got a two-man show today. It is me and Shawn. Shawn, how are you doing today, sir?
I am fantastic, my friend. We are waist deep in reveal season right now,
Yes,
and it's fantastic.
it is amazing. I am so hyped to see everything that comes every single day. And yeah, like Shawn said, we are waist deep in reveal season, and this week is no different. Yesterday, this past Thursday, we got, I believe, 24 cards in one day.
It was a lot. It was pretty. It was pretty overwhelming.
I could not keep up with it all. I will not lie. I missed some posts on Twitter. I missed a lot of stuff, but a lot of good cards to talk about throughout the past week since episode 33 aired. And Shawn, we got a very interesting card, an Amethyst, that could fit very well into our villain deck we're brewing up. Why don't you talk about it?
Yeah. So this new card, we have Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. We get another Maleficent card. She was a pretty big character in set one. And we're getting another great card for her. So she is a 5-cost inkable, 2/3 with 2 lore, and she has 2 abilities. Her first ability, and these are rough translations, everybody, so bear with us on this. Her first ability is Dark Knowledge. Whenever this character quests, you may draw a card. And her second ability is Divination. During your turn, whenever you draw a card, you may move 1 damage counter from a chosen character to a chosen opposing character. The ability to move damage is kind of spicy. And when you're in Amethyst, we all know you're drawing tons of cards anyway.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting combatant to steel decks and those like spread damage decks, like grab your swords and stuff. Because I mean, you're doing it one, like you're drawing a card with Dark Knowledge, and then as soon as you do that, you can move a damage. And we have the small Maleficent, we have Friends on the other side. We have a lot of cards that let you draw. Uh, and so, yeah, I'm very interested to see how this works. Also, like the fact that if you use a whole new world, like you're drawing 7 new cards, you can move 7 damage across the board and wipe out the board if you have them out.
That's really interesting you bring that up, because I was thinking something very, very similar to that. The more cards you draw, the more damage you can move. This would be very interesting to me if we maybe not a whole new world, but if we get to play this alongside a lot of the Ruby self-damaging stuff.
Oh yeah,
that could be a lot of fun. You Teeth and Ambition something, drop Friends on the other side, move that 2 damage you just took to something else. Could be kind of spicy. I think it's pretty great.
Yeah, and that Mother Gothel. There we go. The one where you drop it down 3 damage on it.
Exactly. See, exactly. You get where my head's at. Admittedly, this card does suffer from only having 3 willpower, which we all know at this point in the game can kind of be a liability. So you're definitely gonna have to play around that a little bit. But there are a lot of ways to give characters protection in this game. At this point, we have Bodyguard that could help protect her. You could slap a couple of stacks of resist on her. There's many great things you can do. Drop her on the location that gives her ward, or use some of the other cards that give ward as well. There's lots of ways to keep her safe.
Yeah, and also this does fit in right into that villain deck. Obviously,
absolutely,
we're going to keep talking about it. The Queen of Hearts card.
Yes.
And it kind of brings that whole villain archetype together. It is legendary, so it may be harder to get than other cards in the deck, being that the 2 Hades that are pretty big parts are both rares. The Queen of Hearts is an uncommon. So we're going to have, obviously there are always high-end cards to get, but we've been thinking about like that aggro Amethyst Amber deck, and this does seemingly fit right into there. And I know, Shawn, you've been talking about like just in time with that deck.
Yes.
And bringing this out turn 3. That could be spicy.
Just in time, turn 3 Mal would be great. Utilizing 0 to hero, considering going back to that villain build that we've been, since we got that reveal, me and you especially have been very, very much looking forward to building some sort of variation of the villain deck. And I think if you want to go wide, like I think you want to do with that villain deck, Zero to Hero you could easily play her for free.
Oh yeah,
in my
100%.
mind, or even for one lore or one ink, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So lots of fun ways to get her out early.
Yeah, so definitely lots of things to do with this new Maleficent card. And the next card we're going to talk about is another legendary. It is a Floodborn Kita from Atlantis. If you know me, I love Kita.
Yes.
Love Kita. Protector of Atlantis is the uh, surname. I forgot what they call it.
Subname.
Subname. Yeah.
I don't know that there's really an
I think there
actual
is.
term. Is there
There
an actual
definitely
term for it?
is. Like in like the begin, and like the quick start guide. There's like a diagram of everything.
Oh
on
yeah,
there.
you're right. I think we've all just been gotten to call them subnames at this point,
Yeah.
really.
But she's a 5-cost inkable, 3 strength, 5 willpower with 2 lore. Like I said, a Floodborn. She also is a hero and a princess. Shift 3, and she's an amber, by the way. And the name of her ability is Perhaps We Can Save Our Future. When you play this character, all characters get -3 strength until the start of your next turn. Yes, right off the bat, you're realizing, okay, this is affecting our own characters, like the characters on your side of the board too. But the conversation, like I've seen people say this isn't as good, this is really good, and I believe this is a very defensive play, because what you want to do is you want to do everything you need to do, quest, challenge, anything, and then you play Kita down, which basically can thwart any like possible attacks coming from your opponent. Now, yes, this does see just the characters on board, so if your opponent does play like a Madame Fox or a Maui, it won't affect that. But this is still, I think, very good and can win some games in some scenarios.
I absolutely agree with you. I think it'll see play. It is a different kind of card. We haven't really seen like a mass debuff like this yet. I don't believe, not on this level at the very least. And it could come down and save you. Say you're worried about your board getting re-challenged on the next turn. This is definitely going to save you from that. And I also want to point out that the art for this card, I'm gonna steal some of Liam and Aaron's thunder here. The art on this card is
so good,
breathtaking, and we get to see yet another example of the art breaking the frame of a card, which I am loving that with this set. We have so many cards that are expanding beyond the frame. I think you're right, but it looks amazing. Phenomenal. Can you imagine seeing her in cold foil for the first time? Gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I am super excited about this card. I'm in the same boat as Brandon with his fascination of Helga. I just watched Atlantis a little while ago, and now my fascination is Kita. So when I saw this, I went bananas. But other than that, I am super excited about this card. I think it will see some play. If it doesn't see play in like an official tournament, it'll definitely see play in testing. I think most legendaries, looking at, besides Gantu, of course, see testing.
Poor Gantu, left out in the cold, man.
But yeah, I predict this will see a good amount of play.
All right, so the next card that I want to talk about, it comes from a franchise that's near and dear to my childhood. We have Thaddeus E. Clang, Metalhead. This is a storyboard villain. He is a villain from the show Tailspin, which I know all the millennials out there are incredibly excited that we get to see all of these great references to this show that I know a lot of us didn't expect to see Disney Toons as early as set 3, but I am so very thankful that we have. All right, he is yet another 5-cost inkable. He's a 3/5 in steel. He has got 2 lore, and his ability is Sharpjaw. Whenever this character quests while at a location, you may deal 1 damage to chosen character. Like I said, I picked this card because I love Tailspin very much, and I think that this ability is also quite interesting. I like seeing more location synergies. Like, give me more reasons to have my characters at locations, please. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do know exactly what you're saying because I want to see locations worked with. I want to see them have like the reasoning to be played because in conversations I realized that some people are just saying we can push locations off to the side. They won't mean as much. But with cards like this that like truly matter at locations, maybe we do see that. And obviously it follows that steel I don't know the best word for it, but just what steel does in like dealing the spread damage. It follows that notion. I guess is the best word for it. And yeah, I'm really excited about any card that interacts with locations because I personally am going to strive to make them work as the best as they can. We still don't have all of the locations. I think we maybe at like half at this point. So lots still to be seen. I think we're gonna get 3 in each ink, which that's a total of 18 locations, 18 different possibilities, and obviously like 6 per deck if you want to go there. So definitely going to be interesting to see what happens with cards like this.
I think that locations are going to kind of be the same as songs and items have been so far. Like, you might see one location in a random deck just because it provides really really good value. So you'll see decks utilize maybe 1 or 2 locations if they're really good and they provide a lot of value. Or what you'll see is these specifically themed decks, like we see the item themed decks, and we've seen Steel Song rampaging across the meta for months. I think that it's going to go those 2 directions, much like the other distinct card types have.
Yeah, definitely definitely going to be interesting just because I do like the dynamic already between locations, but I don't know like the best way to say it, but it just seems like locations haven't shown up to be what we thought they would be yet. But cards like this make me hope that we are going to see things that make those locations truly worthwhile to be played instead of just being, oh, this is just pack filler, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, so definitely lots to see with locations going forward. But I have another steel card to talk about. It is a super rare. It is a 4-cost uninkable Sheriff of Nottingham, corrupt official, 2 strength, 4 willpower with 1 lore, Dreamborn villain, and its ability says taxes should hurt. Whenever you discard a card, you may deal 1 damage to chosen opposing character. We have a way to combat discard decks. And also, we have a way that we could benefit from playing a whole new world. And when you play a whole new world, because obviously it's in steel, so same color, Sheriff Nottingham's on the board, play a whole new world. You can deal 7 damage and draw your hand back up. That's deadly. I'm sorry, that's just deadly. Like this I feel like goes right into a steel song deck as like 4 costs in that deck have been very interesting so far. And so I think you slot this in. It is uninkable, which obviously is a slight drawback, but I think this ability is going to be very strong in decks that are steel because it runs a whole new world.
Oh, absolutely, man. I think Sheriff of Nottingham is definitely going to see play in any deck that's going to wheel with a whole new world. I absolutely agree with you. And I also think that's he's a really good example of we can clearly see why he's uninkable right now, as
Yeah.
opposed to some of the other uninkables. We're like, well, I feel like that's more playable if it's inkable. So I love him though. I've always loved Robin Hood. The movie it's always great. Sheriff of Nottingham was always a really fun villain. The art's phenomenal, and I think this is gonna see a lot of play. I think it's very, very it turns a whole new world also into a board wipe almost. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. Who knew a whole new world would be the next Be Prepared in combination with this card?
For real.
Oh, that makes me shudder. But that's Lorcana for you.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, lots that can be thrown into Sheriff Nottingham in its potential in the upcoming meta.
All right. The last card that I want to talk about today is the new Ariel, Adventurous Collector. She's 3-cost inkable ruby hero, Dreamborn Princess. With 1 lore, she's a 2/3. She has evasive and the ability Inspiring Voice. Whenever you play a song, chosen character of yours gains evasive until the start of your next turn. I find this very, very interesting.
I do too.
We already know that there are several Ruby songs that get played. Be Prepared being like the king among them. But Teeth and Ambitions is also a song, yes?
Yeah.
So Teeth and Ambitions triggers this. But yeah, like her in any deck that's got a song obviously is gonna be loving this. And allowing another character to get evasive is kind of awesome. I think it's kind of awesome. I think this could also give the new I've Got a Dream card, the one that's ready chosen character to a location they can't quest for the rest of this turn. They gain lore equal to that location's lore. I think any of those 3 songs that I've just named are obvious picks for her, and every other color has ample amounts of songs that could also be used for them too. So I don't think there will be any shortage of her being used. So
yeah,
and I love the art. I think the shadow work and the sense of depth on the card art is absolutely great.
See, I will disagree with you there. I can't like. I don't like the art on the card. I just won't lie. It just the shadow
okay.
work. The shadow work is what like says no to me. I don't know why, but yeah. Ariel, Adventurous Collector, Ruby Amber was where my mind went with this first, because obviously we have the other Ariel that is in there that looks for songs. And I will say it is really cool to see all of the Ariels that we have do care about singing and songs
in some way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah,
And
very on brand for the character.
oh yes, 100%. And evasive, we all know is great. Inspiring Voice, I think being able to give something else evasive is also going to be great, because we're in Ruby, you can play Maui and give it evasive after playing a song, and boom, you are able to hit higher costing evasives with Maui, which could be an interesting play.
True.
I do think maybe this should have been a rare. I don't think super rare was for it. Who knows? Maybe obviously maybe missing something that makes it a super. But I think it should have been a rare. I don't know. I just don't know yet, honestly. I'm very like 50-50 on the card right now to see where it does stack up. Because that 3 slot in any deck is very filled right now, I feel like. The 3 cost
It is
slot.
true.
So it's just hard to. If this is like a 4 cost, then yeah, okay, that makes sense. But like a 3 cost, it is going to have to like very much say, okay, this deserves a spot in this deck.
Right. She may birth her own deck, honestly.
True.
Like this may give rise to, like you said, a Ruby Amber deck that just really, really wants to play as many songs as fast as possible, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you get flutes, both aerials.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff that can be thrown into that, which is very exciting to see. I think we're like starting to see these like the song deck. We're not going to talk about it, but like we got another broom card, and we're starting to see like a broom deck come together.
We got 2 brooms in this set, which is
I think we're getting
a
more.
break from tradition.
I think we're getting more, honestly, with what we've seen so far. I think we're still going to get a few more because obviously we got the location that interacts with brooms. So broom tribal.
So we have the location that interacts with brooms, the 4 brooms, and Sorcerer Mickey that are all trying to work together to make something happen.
Typo decks definitely obviously like are on the rise. We see also like the villain stuff, so lots to do there with that. But the final card I want to bring up today is B Squared's favorite card. It is Helga Sinclair, Femme Fatale, a 5-cost uninkable emerald. Emerald tax of being uninkable strikes again. 4 strength, 4 willpower, 2 lore, Floodborn, villain, shift 3, and then this changes everything. Whenever this character quests, you may deal 3 damage to chosen damaged character. Emerald Steel Ping, possibly.
Could be.
I think it's good. I do really like this card. I think there is, obviously, with what we've seen in Steel, there is lots of ways to get damage onto opposing characters. And if you like have enough ink, or like you sing, grab your sword, and then quest with Helga, boom, that's 5 damage to one character, taking it off the board if you need it. So I do
Right.
like this. It is just really interesting to me. Like, we've seen like 3 sets now, and like how much things work together. Because obviously the game was never designed to be played with 1 set or 2 sets. But I think, like, obviously we're seeing locations come into this set that it's starting to very much mesh, and things are starting to add up. And there's going to be, I think, a lot more deck archetypes that come because of these different abilities, and it's just going to make decision making that much harder, because that's what a TCG is. As much as obviously it doesn't have the Disney IP, this is still a very competitive TCG. Uh, and so making those decisions and having to like plan out everything. This is a very planned out game. You have to like be on turn 2 thinking about what you're going to do turns 3, 4, 5. And I think this really encompasses that in like just the pure decision making that comes down in playing any game.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Well, Shawn's response, short and sweet, sums it up. This is a very good card. And I do have something that just popped up as we were recording.
Yeah,
we
I saw
have
that too.
A new Jafar card, courtesy of TCG Cast. Shawn, you want to run us through this recently revealed card?
Absolutely. You know, shout out to the guys over at TCG Cast. They do some amazing work. They cover tons of different TCGs. The card that I gotta pull it back up. Find it. All right, there we go. So we got Jafar, Lamp Thief. Is an amethyst 3-cost inkable 2/2 Storyborn villain sorcerer with 2 lore that has the ability, I am your master now. When you play this character, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one on the top of your deck and the other on the bottom. So we have a scry effect, which we know Amethyst loves.
Mm-hmm. They love digging through the deck, drawing cards.
It's true. And I mean, considering the amount of draw that this ink has, it only makes sense to allow them to make the draws more consistent, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, 100%. And obviously, like, the thing that perked me up when I saw this card was it has that villain tag on it and is an Amber Amethyst. So I think like something we're all keeping in the back of our head is more villains and more reason to just, it's another card to test in that deck, which I'm very excited about.
Right. I think we've already seen, because he is essentially a Yzma that's a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
A Yzma Alchemist that's a little bit better. And I'm all for it, because I think that Yzma Alchemist was utilized a decent amount, maybe not as much as it could have been, but I think that she was used to, like we already said, to make draws more consistent. And Jafar does that even better, and he has more lore. So
yes,
it's an on-play ability, which everybody loves on-play abilities. This could be utilized in the Bounce Shell with Madam Mims.
Mm-hmm.
Any sort of
Mims villain, like,
yeah. See, exactly. It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Great art. This looks to be one of the packaging arts for Into the Inklands. I believe it's one of the booster pictures. Phenomenal, though. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. I love it.
And it's uncommon. And with what we've seen so far, like, a lot of these villain cards that we're going to be playing around with in these decks are like lesser rarities. And like, we do have like a few higher rarity cards. Like Ursula is something that comes to mind as a higher rarity villain. But there's a lot of villains that are less than rare and lower that could fit well onto that deck.
It's true.
And speaking of rare or lower, I didn't mention the main topic or another topic of this episode because I wanted to leave it for now. We are going to be talking a little bit about the Glimmer Gauntlet. If you guys don't know what the Glimmer Gauntlet is our charity tournament coming up next month. It is a 15-player tournament. Everyone has a different ink combination from Lorcana. And next week are when the matchups come out. So we wanted to quickly run through all of the inks because it is rare and lower, which makes it that much more interesting to deck build. We lose a good majority of the cards that make decks full. So people are going to have to be thinking about how to build different decks. And Shawn, you are playing in this. And I know we can't talk about your ink combination yet, but when you think about deck building in this regard, how has it changed your view on the game?
Oh, I love it. I think that restricting the deck building in this tournament is adding another layer on top of the strategy that it takes to build these decks. Because not everybody can't look at their color pairing and be like, okay, what's the top deck? You kind of can, but you're gonna lose pieces. You're gonna lose, and depending on the deck, you might lose a lot of pieces, and it might fall apart. So, I love it. I think it's great. And as far as lowering the rarity, it also generally will lower the cost of the deck monetarily. So, I love it.
Yeah, I am very excited. This idea came to me at 3 a.m. one night when I was just up sleeping, and here we are 3 months later. We're about to put it on. It is a webcam tournament, so everyone will be playing over webcam. Videos were released. It's going to happen the near end of March, beginning of April. More specific information on that will be out very soon. But what we want to do now is just take a quick run through of all the inks, see what they may be missing with not having legendaries and supers, but also what these decks or what these inks could do. So for Amber, we're just going to go in set order. I think one of the bigger things this loses is the singer Ariel.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not
Ariel Spectacular Singer not being in there. Yeah.
That is like the first thing that comes to mind. You do have like a singer like Gaston Baritone Bully. He is a uncommon singer 5, but also you don't get to search for songs. But you have you have all of the dwarves. You have cards like Zero to Hero. You have Goofy Bodyguard, Simba Protective Cub, Just in Time is a rare. The Hades Lord of the Underworld, which gets a character back from your discard, is a rare. Hades King of Olympus is a rare. So that villain archetype could come across in this.
It's true. It's true. It very well could.
But what are your thoughts on Amber as a whole going into rare and lower format?
So I think that Amber is probably pretty good losing its super rares and legendaries. It's losing things like Rockstar Stitch, the Queen Commanding Presence, which I know that those cards have seen play and they're pretty great cards. I don't know how deck defining they are anymore. I know they're good pieces and they're good value plays. I know Stitch is great for drawing cards, which everybody needs to do. He has got 3 lore on the body. The Queen Commanding Presence is a great turn 2 value play. So, and like you brought up, Ariel Spectacular Singer, losing her I think is probably the biggest hit.
Yeah.
Maybe Maximus Palace Horse, just because he's such a yet again another great value play. Just because he does so much for 5 ink. But Amber being able to hold on to like 1-drop Singer, Cinderella, like you said, all the dwarves. We still got Lantern. We still got like Baby Simba. We still have all sorts of stuff. Just in Time, like you said, both Hades. We even have Moana. Princesses might make a comeback. You never know. So. I think the Amber will be okay. I don't think that this is one of the inks that's going to be hurt the most.
Yeah, I don't either. I think this ink is going to be able to survive. I mean, all of the inks should survive. That's not what I'm saying, but it's just it is just a little bit of thinking differently.
Some better than others.
Yes,
we'll
exactly.
Admit that. Some better than others.
The next ink in the list that we have is Amethyst. I also think this is going to survive really well. I mean, you still have you have the entire bounce package in there. You have cards card. The Sorcerer Spellbook is still in there.
Yep. All the draw.
All of the draw.
Like, you really haven't lost any of the draw.
The thing, like, cards you lose are cards like Elsa, Ursula, those Yzma, those big top end cards. But
exactly,
all of the brooms are still here, and I guess you do lose Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So yeah, I'm gonna rescind that statement. Brooms probably won't be as good, but there's a lot to like about Amethyst in the Gauntlet.
Yeah, like you said, we lose. You're basically losing your top end. Like that's what's hitting you the hardest with Amethyst. But still having the whole bounce package, still having pretty much every single tool you need to draw cards out. I think it's great. Honestly, I really think Amethyst might be doing the best out of all the inks, just because all of their stuff seems to be in lower rarity slots. And don't get me wrong, we still have like. There's still like shift Dr. Facilier. Like, that's a decent card. Like, maybe he'll see some play because the other three big top end cards that everybody normally plays in this color aren't getting played.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the recursion that he brings. If you are trying to just keep cards on the field, his ability Into the Shadows says whenever one of your other characters is banished in a challenge, you may return that card to your hand.
Yeah, imagine having like goats and rabbits out with him, Mim Foxes. Like, you're just swinging in and getting rid of everything your opponent is dropping on the field and getting it right back to hand. So you're gaining that lore or drawing that card and being able to do it all over again.
Oh, yes.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and he is a 7-cost uninkable, but he does have shift 5, and we do have a 3-cost and a 4-cost Facilier. I think there's a 2-cost as well to shift him onto. So lots of options there.
There is a 2-cost.
There's a 2-cost.
Challenger Facilier.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I honestly, now that we're talking about it, I kind of expect to see, because it's what each ink will be represented in 5 decks. Yes, because it can't be in a deck by itself. So each ink in the Gauntlet gets represented by 5 different decks. I'd be willing to bet in at least one of those decks we're going to see a Dr. Facilier package.
Oh yes, 100%. Yeah, I do like it a lot. I think it'll be good. I think Amethyst, like you said, is it's the deck that survives the most, or the ink that survives the most with their stuff that they have. The next ink that we have, moving on, is Emerald. I don't know what to think about Emerald at this point. We do have cards like Flynn Rider and Donald Duck that stay. I guess now that I'm looking through it, the whole discard package is still there, essentially.
Yeah, it's pretty much still there. I don't know that Emerald's losing a whole lot of its.
Yeah, that's true.
The good stuff that it does. That brand spanking new Ursula that's amazing still gets to be played. Everybody that's in Emerald gets to utilize Morph still.
And there are good Floodborn rares and lower too.
Yeah, there are, absolutely. Like you already mentioned, Flynn Rider could be good. Donald Duck could be good. We still get Cusco. Everybody knows Cusco is a fantastic Emerald card.
And Mad Hatter.
And Mad Hatter, yep. So
I stand corrected.
I think the things that we lose in Emerald, in those rarity spots, the one card that jumps out to me that sees play is Genie on the Job.
That is true. Yeah, that being able to throw stuff back into their hand is. Yep. It was one of the pieces that gave Emerald some legs in set 1. Yeah, that is probably the biggest top end card that they do lose if they are playing Emerald.
Yeah, but besides that, not a lot of these get to see a lot of play yet. John Silver a little bit. I don't see him being a super big loss though. The things that I see here from set 3, we have several cards from set 3 in these slots. Not being able to play Shenzi might matter because I think Shenzi's a really, really good card at 4 ink. So we'll see. But I think again a lot of the stuff that Emerald does anyway, that it's here.
Yeah, like the Cursed Merfolk card that we are getting. That's a rare. So definitely a lot of good stuff here. Like you said, Morph, that Robin Hood, that the Lumineers revealed, amazing artwork. But that could be a nice top end for these decks because it has 4 lore.
Sure.
You don't
Yep.
have a Ruby will have some stuff, and we'll get into that in a second. But it's not like Vanillas may make a return if they are good top end cards. I think
If they can generate a good amount of lore, then yeah, I think that Vanillas may see some play. They may pop out there.
Yeah, like I said, Ruby, like we're getting into right now, it still has to be prepared. I think that's the first thing I have to say.
It still has to be prepared. It still has Maui. So, I mean, it's got 2 of its best pieces still available.
Yeah, still has Dragonfire if you want to use it.
It still has Dragonfire, which I think it will because you lose Maldragon.
You do.
And I think the bigger hit for Ruby is they lose out on Lady Tremaine Imperious Queen.
True. Yeah.
Because that gets around Ward, and that's a big piece in Ruby that Ruby needs to be able to get around Ward if they don't want to hit the whole board. So, besides that, not a lot of these saw play. I think people not being able to utilize the new Prince Eric might be I think that's good for the tournament, but not necessarily good for the players because this card, I think, is going to end up being very, very good, and it could have been a good tool for the Gauntlet Gladiators. Is that what we're calling everybody? So for the Gladiators, any of the Gladiators in Ruby, that would have been a really fun piece to have, and even a brave little Taylor to close out the game.
Yeah,
so.
But there's something I was thinking about was Shere Khan, Menacing Predator with the challenging and stuff.
Yes.
We could see a nice challenge matters deck come together. We still have Teeth and Ambitions. You Can Fly, I think, may not be bad for Evasive if you don't want to have it in there. Obviously, like a Minnie Mouse stylish for Evasive is good, but it doesn't hit anything. But yeah, lots of cool stuff in Ruby. And it doesn't lose Be Prepared. It doesn't lose Maui. It doesn't lose Dragonfire. So it still has its
teeth.
Yeah, it definitely.
It's still got teeth.
Yeah, definitely. I like Ruby a lot. I'm gonna say I like all these inks a lot. I don't know if you mentioned it, but the Queen of Hearts Sensing Weakness like I just said, the challenging. That's the draw. That's a draw ability that they be able to have. And so Ruby, I like it. I know it doesn't have all the draw, but there are other inks that help it. Ruby Amethyst still may be really good, honestly.
It still might be really good.
Which scares me, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
It's true.
Yeah, that is Ruby. We do have 2 inks left to talk about. Next one is Sapphire.
Yes.
I do like Sapphire a lot. Obviously, you're losing cards like Hades and other things, but
I think that's the biggest hit.
Yeah, I do agree.
Hades and some of the pieces. Actually, I guess you don't need Tamatoa for an item deck. Although I think that Tamatoa as a top end, like a 2 of at the top end, is a smart play in an item deck. Nobody gets to play with Lucky Dime. I know that a lot of people are excited for that. Also, the new Scrooge McDuck gets shut off for this tournament too. So that is, I know a lot of people are talking about like having Scrooge playing Lucky Dime off of Scrooge, stuff like that. So, and obviously the biggest hit that they're taking is Hades Infernal Schemer. You lose out on that because I know a lot of people are just terrified of that card.
Yeah, that card is just amazing. It gets like around Mufasa, which obviously neither of those cards will be legal in this format. But it has ways of getting around stuff like that. But the whole item package with Hiram and Popsicle is still here. It didn't go anywhere. You still have all of your ramp options with Mickey Mouse.
All the ramp
one
is
jump.
still there, I believe.
You still have access to Let It Go, so some removal. Develop Your Brain is still here. Lots of stuff.
Falling down the rabbit hole might see play just because it's a piece of removal that's rare. It could see play. Eye of the Fates is still there for adding lore.
Nothing to Hide isn't bad. We've seen it pop up.
Yep. Fishbone Quill. Everybody plays the heck out of that card.
Winnie the Pooh having a think.
Yep.
Noi, Orphan Thief may actually make a comeback. I think being a rare, drop that down. If you play Popsicle turn 1, drop that down. Give it resist 1 and ward. Is nice. And you also have Aurelian Gyro Sensor. Whenever one of your characters quests and you look at the top of your deck, put it either on the top or bottom of your deck. Great filtering right there. Lots of good stuff. And hey, we do have the Huey, Dewey, and Louie trio. Macy play. So yeah, lots to like with Sapphire.
Definitely think about the fact that we're gonna see things that we probably wouldn't normally have seen.
Oh yes, 100%. There are going to be new archetypes and new things because we are putting every single ink combo together. A good majority of these ink combos that are going to be showcased here just haven't seen play in competitive play on in the meta. But now that we have something like this, or we are giving people their combinations, and they have to build around these combinations, we're going to see new stuff. And my little hope is maybe someone sees something with the rares and lower and says, "Oh, that actually kind of worked. What can I add to make it better with supers and not enchanteds?" I keep saying that legendaries, and like a new archetype comes from that.
Yeah, the new decks could come out. Decks that weren't able to be worked on before. Decks that just kind of fizzled out before. We're going into this with a whole new set to build with as well.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be a lot of fun, and really, I think that some people's perspectives on ink pairings and inks in general are going to get shifted in this tournament.
I'm really excited to see what comes from it. We do have one more ink to talk about. Obviously,
yes,
we have Steel, and I am really excited about Steel and what it could bring to the table. I think it has the ability. Obviously, we do use cards like A Whole New World, but you still grab your swords. You still have Let the Storm Rage On. What's the one? Strength of Raging Fire, Smash, Cannons, like so much stuff.
I think it's really funny with Steel. I think Steel might have gotten hit the hardest, but it's still not in the worst place.
No, I don't think any of these, with what we've seen from set 3, I don't think any of these inks are truly in a bad place for this. I think there are ways to make them work with each other, and I don't think nothing really suffers so much because every ink loses their top end.
It essentially, yeah, pretty much every ink loses their top end and maybe a piece in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Like for Steel, like you mentioned, A Whole New World is not legal in this tournament. Thank goodness.
Tank isn't.
Big Tank and Sad Beast. Those 3 cards we all know are staples for Steel. They are in darn near every deck. They're in maybe not every deck, but they're in a ton of the decks just from the simple fact of the value that they themselves generate. And I notice here that the combo that you were talking about, the Sheriff of Nottingham, A Whole New World combo, is shut down completely. Neither one of the pieces are going to be legal for this tournament. So
yeah,
I'm excited. I think that this is going to maybe level out the playing field a little bit more because we all know how dominant Steel can be.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to mention too that I know that she doesn't see a lot of play, but big Cinderella Stout-Hearted is going to be locked down too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if she hadn't been, she would have been one of the stars of this tournament.
I think Hades Divine Hero is going to be a star of this tournament. Shift 4, resist 2. It's a Floodborn, so it works with Morph. If whoever has Emerald Steel is playing that, I do think Hercules Divine Hero could be an all-star in this tournament.
I think you're right. I think that Hercules Divine Hero is going to see a ton of play, and I think he's going to do some work.
Yeah, honestly, if anyone is playing Sapphire, whoever is playing Sapphire Steel, if somehow they make the goofy Night Fair Day work because it's a rare, I would laugh so hard. That would be so funny.
Hey, crazier things have happened.
That is true. But yeah, the Gauntlet, it really makes people think about all of these archetypes in a new way. It puts a new point of view on them because there's just cards that are gone. They're like just snapped out of existence. Thanos came in, snapped them away for a few weeks, and they're going to come back and come back after. But I'm excited. I am really excited, especially because personally, I'm excited to watch because I'm not playing, and I get to just like see everything happen, and just see everything develop. And obviously, everyone will. But yeah, final thoughts on the Gauntlet. Are you excited? It's going to get going. What are your final thoughts on this event, Shawn?
I can't wait. I'm super excited. We have so much amazing talent that's going to be in front of the camera and behind it. Amazing friends, friends new and old. I can't wait. I think this is going to be a blast.
Yeah. And before we end the episode, I want to read off everyone we do have participating. Our gladiators, our participants, are people who have their ink combos. Is Liam and Aaron from the Illumineers, Katie and Becky from Live Laugh Lorcana, Shawn, of course. We have Franz from Traverse Tavern, Steph from Lorcana Luminary, Rebecca from The Illuminary, Jacob from Ready Set Draw, Pavel, Artem, Eric Switzer from The Gamer, Blake from the Glimmer Gang, Sky Jinx, and then Adara or Okem from Sins of Lorcana Cast. That is just the Citizens of Lorcana podcast. The casters I am going to be casting. We have B Squared 24, our good friend Brandon. Y Breezy is going to be casting it. Jay is also going to be casting. Dan and Jim from Hobbies and Happiness. Sugi from TCG Cast. Jake from 40 Born. Whippet, and then Knive as well. So we have a very great team going into this that are very excited.
Name a better lineup. I'll wait. This is some Avengers level Lorcana shenanigans going on right here.
Hey, I'm just really excited to get this going. It has been in production for a few months now. We still have 2 months from now. Obviously, the will be done in around that time. But we still have a lot to go. Like I said, ink combos and matchups will be announced on February 14th through 21st, so just in a short week. So be on the lookout on our Twitter for those. They will be released every day from Wednesday to Wednesday, leading up to the release of Into the Inklands in LGS is the 23rd. So yeah, that was episode 34 of the Glimmer Gang podcast. We talked about a lot. We talked about some new cards and then the Gauntlet. We are so excited for this new set, and we are just a few short weeks away. We're going to have the full set. We might have the full set by the next time we talk, the next time you hear our voices. So we want to say, everyone, thank you for listening to this episode. Let us know what you thought. And come talk with us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere you can find us at Glimmer Gang Pod. But like I said, thank you so much for listening, and Glimmer on.